Something I've been a big fan of for a few years now is collecting the AK47 ammunition. I started out collecting the AK47 7.62 by 39 spent brass when I'd be out shooting or at different shooting ranges, and it was an easy thing to start collecting because it's available and it's free. And thing is, if you notice on the back of these spent cases, there's markings, and those head stamps, they're called, designate on a military cartridge which factory it was made and what year it was made, and on a commercial cartridge it'll tell you what company it is and what caliber it is. And since there's a lot of different people out there making the AK-47 ammunition, it's real easy to create a pretty big collection of spent cartridges, because so many people are buying it from different sources, they're getting it from different sources, they're all shooting it, it's all ending up on the ground at the shooting ranges. So for me, that was a real easy way to get introduced to the collecting of AK-47 ammo, and then that grew and it's gotten a little bit bigger. It grew in a couple of ways. One, I became more interested in it, and once you find out there's different factories making it, there's different countries making it, then it gets a little more interesting. Once you get over to the commercial stuff and you see the different factories and the different companies that are making it, that gets interesting. Then you find out there's different types of ammunition, and it really gets interesting. So the amount of stuff to collect became impressive, but my sources also kind of grew. So I would go to gun shows and I'd find a box of ammo, and it would be from someone who's selling ammo for a living. And at least at the gun shows here in Arizona, there's more than a few people that sell ammunition, and they're not just buying it by the truckload and selling it. I don't know how they procure it, but they get it from gun shops, they go and find it, people bring it to them, estate sales, however they get it, but they come in with small quantities of older stuff a lot of times, and that's a great source to get older ammunition. For example, look at this this box of 7.62 by 39 from Norinco, China North Industries, back when these could still be imported. And any idea how much you think this box of ammo cost? $2. So at some point, somebody bought this off the shelf for $2. The one underneath it is marked at $4. So pretty neat stuff out there. And again, you can't find that anymore new, but I can, when I find it at gun shows and let the guys know, they start to look for me. Now there's a couple other people, like at the SAR show, which is a big machine gun shoot. I found some frangible ammo, some of the older commercial stuff from some of the gun shops. People will bring in used guns, they'll bring in used ammo too, and as long as it's factory boxes, gun shops will resell older ammo. So again, telling gun shops that you're a collector, they just start to hold boxes back for me. In fact, most of these U.S. manufactured stuff was all from local gun shops that knew I was collecting it and would hold a box for me if they got a supply of it in. Then you've got your military stuff. These Spam cans are another great source of collecting on the cheap, because actually this one is empty. This is the box that was in it, or it was full of boxes like that, but this can is actually empty. Somebody else bought it, and I asked them if they would mind, because I collect the cans, if they would let me open the box from the back like that and pull out all the little small boxes, and they said sure. And you can see this is the one that kind of got scorched, but of course none of them went off. I just used a little grinder, and that's one of my favorite things in my collection, because honestly I just couldn't afford to buy a whole can like that for just the collection. I'd want to shoot it, but it is neat to have a complete can. Now the lids are even easier to get. I just ask people, hey, do you mind if I cut the top off, can I keep it? And they say sure, because everybody hates cutting the top off of these big tuna cans. So you just use the little included can opener thing, and you take the top off. And I eventually mean to go in and smack them down with a hammer, but I haven't. So anyway, there's a couple of different kinds here. My favorite one is this 7.62 by 39, which you just don't see very often. At least I don't see very often. This one also is 7.62 by 39, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, this deeper green ones back here are 7.62, but those are 7.62 by 54R, the cartridge from the RPK or from the Mosin Nagant. So those are neat. I just keep them because, again, they're free. And then the 5.45, you know, the AK-74 round is another neat one. And again, those are easier to find, the Bulgarian ones especially. And yeah, I just get them because, again, they're free. A couple, these are a little bit different, you know, different paint job, maybe from a different country, I'm not sure, but I think they're neat, and I just kind of hang them on the wall of my bat cave. Going around from there, you know, you start, I look for ammo on the range. You know, I try to get free stuff like the spam cans when I can. I pick up some boxes of ammo at the gun shows, and then I'll be out at the range. And one of the guys that I buy ammo from, I shoot with him occasionally on Thursdays. I'll see him out there at the range, and he was shooting, and he said, "Hey, you want one of these?" And I said, "Sure." It's a German hollow point 74 round, and it's the only German 74 round I have. And again, it's not something, I didn't even buy it, he gave it to me. And I just put it in this little plastic bag so I can see the head stamp and it doesn't get lost in the chaos of all the rest of the stuff there. But that's another great way to get stuff. I've got, let's see, this box of Winchester, which is basically military issue, but it's not actually issued to the military and then stolen and given to me. The history of that one, or the story behind that one, is it's Winchester brass case 7.62 by 39, but it's packaged in this sort of military case, and it's sold to the military, I guess. But like I said, the story behind this one is there's a place in town here that does weapons familiarizations with Marine Corps and some different military units, and they get that through their channels. And they knew, again, that I collect the ammo, and they're good guys, so he gave me that, and then the big wooden case that those, you know, whatever, 2,000 rounds or something comes in. So that was kind of cool, and that was, again, something that I would never have access to normally, but you'd let enough people know that you're a collector, and, you know, things start to, you know, arise. So I guess I eventually get into some of the other stuff. Like I said, there's different types of ammo, and, you know, a big part of it is the variety and the you know, just the kind of cool factor. You know, finding out that they make stuff with 3 colors, you know, cool, I'm gonna try to find some. A lot of this stuff, it's not like I went out and looked for it, it just was available at gun shops or at gun shows, so I grabbed it. I'll do a quick video on the Lula and the Chinese loader and the stripper clips. And again, the stripper clips, you know, I use them to hold some of my ammo, but I also, well, and I guess I use them in my stripper clip chest rig thing there. But I also figured out that, you know, these are parkerized, these are painted, these are steel. You know, there's different types. You got your ones that are going to be stamped like China, written in English, and then you're going to find some that are, you know, probably just stamped with well, these are nothing. These will be stamped with like a factory mark, 31. So, you know, military, civilian issue, or made for import. You know, I've got some for AR-15s, just to kind of compare them there, I guess. But the AK-74 style, which is these, and again, a little different style. They're not curved. Well, they're not curved, and they're kind of loose in there. They also need a little gizmo in order to connect them. It's a smaller gizmo, but they need the gizmo to connect them to the magazines, and that's one thing I just don't have. So, you know, again, some of them are individually wrapped, and again, those came from China like that. So that's, you know, a collection that's sort of evolving organically, I guess. Some of this stuff I had for a long time. Here's some of the different ways you can buy the ammo. Again, in the spam cans, when you buy 7.62 by 39, you're looking at 660 in a can that size. In the same size can, the 5.4R, which is a much larger bullet, of course they can fit fewer in the can, so only 440. But then when you get to the 74s, the 5.45, you can, there's a smaller round, so you can fit more in the can, and now you're up to 1,080 in the same size can. So you get those spam cams, which hold different amount depending on the calibers, and then you get to these different, like a battle pack here, which is 6 of these 20 round boxes. This battle pack is pretty neat, and I used to be able to get these at the local gun shops all the time, and I forget how much they were, but they weren't very expensive. And that's 120 rounds in there. It's 6 of these 20 round boxes, and those are really nice. I really liked them too because they're plain packaging. They could look like a box of milk or a MRE or who knows. Nobody's going to pay it a second attention. And for something that you might keep in the trunk of the car, you know, for an emergency, I think that's a pretty cool way to package them. Anyway, then behind that you've got a sleeve from a 500 round sleeve from a Wolf case, and this is the cardboard box that would hold 2 of those sleeves to be a case of 1,000. Of course, there's other ways to get them, but that's the sort of the ways I've got represented here. I think these are Yugo in these small boxes, and it's kind of odd because they're packaged in boxes of 15. So this little package, which again used to be available all over the place here in Tucson, were 90 round little packages because it's 6 boxes of 15, and that's a pretty handy size again for packing, or just, you know, when we used to be able to afford taking the AKs out, we would, you know, the cases of Wolf for 1,000 would be $79, $89. We'd take the SKSs back then out and, you know, shoot something else during the day, and then finish up the day shooting 7.62 by 39, shoot 1,000 rounds in a weekend. And these little packages were nice for that because we could go camping or something and have some shooting ammo just to have fun with. Then when you get into your commercial ammo, you've got the different eras. You've got your different types of US stuff. And then you've got your Chinese. A lot of Chinese stuff. You know, some of the differences are just the fonts like that. Other differences are, like this one will say steel core bullet, non-corrosive, and this one says steel case bullet. So, you know, subtle difference, but this is a much funner bullet to have. And this is one of my favorite boxes, steel core, steel case. Then we've got some of the Russian stuff from the various factories, and there's a box from Bulgaria. These 20 round boxes are fairly common. The various types of Wolf, the Cellar and Bellet. And then again you've got your various 545s. This is the way they come out of the spam cans usually. And then a couple of calibers that are made by the same factories but in US calibers, like 223 or 22. Then we've got again some of the stripper clips here of various stuff. Forget what these were, but they've got the indented shoulders, some Chinese, some brass, I think this is Winchester, some kind of stuff with a green tip. I'm pretty sure this is Russian. It's another color. And then some 74. And then I've got some 223 here, just because I do have a 223 AK, but obviously it doesn't use these stripper clips. I just keep them on these stripper clips because it's handy. A couple of different kind of blanks, some training ammo, some tracers, and some steel core, I think. So I like to keep them on the stripper clips. It gives me a way to, you know, keep a couple of them together. Haven't found the perfect way to keep them. Something like this. This is my tracer collection, and it's a bunch of different tracers, and I like to look at them because they're red tipped. You know, it's kind of neat. So I could put them on something like this, but then I wouldn't be able to see the head stamp. So that's why I don't think stripper clips are ideal for collectors. But these are just like it says Remington, sort of what comes in a box when you buy, you know, a box of Remington or something, hunting ammo. I think these are probably from 3030 for my lever action. But I put my these tracers in here, and now I can see the head stamps. And these are some fun ones because the head stamps are weirdly weird. I'm going to need some help deciphering these, but that's so far what I've found to be a pretty handy way to keep them. I've got some more here. These aren't tracers, these are just some various Russian ones, I believe. And I mentioned, you know, once you start letting people know you're a collector, now I happen to be in a collector's club. I let enough people know that I collected stuff, and eventually got invited into a collector's club. Once you're in a club of people that, a group of people that collect stuff for a living, well, then you got a whole nother aspect, and that's, I've been lucky enough to have available, that resource available to me. And as long as you've got that in either, something to trade or some money, then you can actually buy some. And this section that we're looking at here is probably the stuff I spent the most money on. It's about $100 worth, and it's some fairly rare ones. The head stamps we're looking at, from factories that aren't, stuff that you can just go get here and there. Then I've got some more stuff that I found or acquired along the way. A couple of different calibers, but mostly 7.62 by 39. And I don't know if people are going to be interested in this much of a detailed look of, ammunition like this, but this is just sort of how my collection is developed, my collecting, process. I did do some reviews a while back for our websites. Did an article on the different types of ammunition. So what we did is we took apart a bunch of different types of ammo. This is some Golden Bear, and this is the example round. And then we took our kinetic hammer here and used that to pull the rounds apart. And you end up with the case with the unused primer. So you have a pretty good example of what the thing looked like. And then you can see the bullet and the lead-tipped bullet. This one is a Wolf, and again the demo round, and then the boat tail, lead core, solid point, steel case. And you can still see the primer. This one was a Barnell, one of these out of this box. And again, you can see how the bullet shape is, the weight, if we wanted to weigh it. And then we see the head stamp and the primer, of course. So I did that with a couple of different ones, some Chinese. Eventually I'd like to go through and do that with most of the stuff I have two of. Anything I have two of, I'd like to pop one of them open to have that representative sample there. These here are some interesting ones. They're I've got a mess there. This is some blanks from Germany, I believe. And they come in these bubble wraps of 10. And then these are some training rounds of some type. This is either plastic or some sort of lightweight metal or something. But interesting rounds. Come in these bubble wrappers. This is an interesting one. It's actually a wood bullet. We make fun of them, but these are training rounds. There's no powder, just the primer. And if you look, they call them blanks, but they're wooden projectiles. An interesting box. And that's something that I got at a gun show, at the SAR show one year. This is a fairly rare book that has a lot of good color photos, and there's a section on AK47 ammo, so I include that as part of my collection as well. This is some of the new stuff that I got at Big Sandy. And I'm going to need some help deciphering the dates on those as well. These are tracer rounds. And it's interesting to see, like, these primers are, just kind of black, where these are red. Every once in a while there's one there that's missing its primer. That one's got green, of course. So this might have been pretty boring for some people, but if it was interesting at all, like I say, feel free to ask questions or leave comments. If there's anybody else out there collecting AK ammo, let me know if you want to trade. I do have duplicates of some of this stuff. I guess one last thing I will mention, again, I do want to encourage people to collect. I think it's a cool thing to collect, and like I say, fairly affordable. I'm probably looking at $300 worth of ammo out here altogether. just because I'm cheap about it, and I buy it little pieces at a time at gun shows here and there, and for the most part I didn't buy much of it. Like I say, I traded and found a lot of it. But something you got to be careful about with any kind of AK collecting is there's a ton of stuff out there. There's a lot of AKs out there. There's a lot of variants and countries and all the other stuff about them. So here's what happens: you buy or you start collecting AK ammo, and that's well and good. And then you start to shoot a little bit. So you get some magazines, and then you figure out, well, there's a difference between your ribbed European magazine and your smoothback Chinese magazines, and okay, that's no problem. But then, you start to find out that there's Bulgarian magazines, that there's U.S.-made magazines, that there's 40-round magazines. Then you find out that somebody's selling a unique Bakelite 7.62 by 39 magazine. You figure, well, you might as well try one of those. Then you find kind of a neat magazine for the 7.62. I believe that's a bolt hold open Yugo. Then of course you start buying 74 magazines because you've already got a couple of 74s. So you start out with your German ones, which used to be really cheap and plentiful, and then you get your Bulgarian. Then you get an AK that takes 22, and you have to get a 22 version of the 74 mag. Then you figure out Bulgarians went on sale somewhere, and you can get a couple of different colors. And then of course there's the waffle type Bulgarians. And I think this is a German just to screw with everybody. So you got to be careful. You start collecting one thing and it leads to another, and it won't end, because then there's magazine pouches. And then once you get through with magazine pouches, you might as well get the rest of your web gear, because now you've got some, SKS mag holder or stripper clip chest rigs, and then you're going to need your bayonet, of course. I'm already hooked on those as well. And then you get back to the guns and parts kits and tools. Put those parts kits together. So be careful. I think ammo is a safe way to get into it. Just don't let it the bug bite you if you got the tendency to start collecting stuff like some people. So anyway, all kidding aside, I guess there is one last thing I brought out here just because it is ammo related, and that's my set of dies that I got for 7.62 by 39. And you can tell I've used them so much that I've never even taken them out of the package. But it is something that I figured as a wedge against any future bullcrap that happens. I want to have the ability to reload and keep shooting my AKs, so I invested in a set of dies right away. And it wasn't expensive. I think this kit was like 20 bucks or 30 bucks or something at a gun show. I bought it from a friend of mine. So, getting a set of 7.62 by 39. Now another trick to collecting ammunition, unless you happen to have a giant shelf or something where you're going to keep this all set up. Obviously I don't. This is just set up where we do our videos here. The trick is that a couple of these boxes are full, but most of these boxes are empty. I bought the ammo and I shot it. I might have kept one or two, and I just used these empty, these are probably 40 caliber trays, that were from probably some from 40 caliber stuff that I bought. So I'll keep one or two from each box if it's a new type of ammo, but then once I'm done with it, I just keep the box and fold them up, and if all these boxes are empty, they all fit into that one wolf case there. So having a collection like this is neat, and if you don't want to look at it every day, just fold up all these empty boxes and put them in there. The ammo, it does take up a little room. I keep it in an ammo box. You got to be careful with the magazines, of course. They take up a lot of room. The tin, I actually just keep this stuff on the wall, sort of pinned up on the wall, like decoration, around the top of the room. And the same thing with the ammo can. Because of the holes in the back, to empty it out, it also gives you a place to hang it. Then, the ammo, like I say, I just keep it in an ammo can, and it stores pretty easily. So again, this might look like a lot of stuff, but it's not like I have vast amounts of money to spend on ammunition that's just sitting in a giant shelf somewhere. This has all been shot for the most part, and my representative samples here is what takes up most of the weight and most of the room. And this is the look at ammo collection and how it's evolved over a couple of years. hopefully this will start some discussion or some curiosity on collecting AK-47 ammo. Thanks. Let us know what you think.
The guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching GunWebsites.com.